guys seen the soul trap idea that is floating around TikTok? And honestly, it's been on my FYP for a very long time, and it is very disconcerting. If you don't want to be bothered today, keep scrolling, because I have been seeing the soul trap. It's this idea that reincarnation is a trap, and that as we continue to reincarnate over and over again on Earth, it's just a way for this dark force energy to siphon our energy, our human energy as a resource. It's in tandem with the idea that we're a soul farm, that we're an energy farm, and that all of the things we see are an illusion, and religion and governments and all of these ideas are actually ways to just keep us stuck. And I could accept that, but I saw a video this morning that really rocked my world, if I'm going to be honest. I've been in a down mood all day, which it is really hard for me to be in a down mood. I have been on such a high the last few months, reading Neville Goddard, reading Joe Dispenza, reading Joseph Wynn, connecting with a soul tribe here on TikTok and learning. And watching this video this morning really brought me down, which is really hard to do. And I think the reason it brought me down is because it was talking about how to avoid the soul trap. How do you avoid being reincarnated over and over again so that you are just stuck in this endless loop? Because each lifetime that you're reincarnated, your mind is erased. So it's just a setup. And this has always been a really disconcerting and disturbing thing to me, that when we come to Earth, our soul is wiped. For me, I just didn't understand why our memory was wiped. It seemed to be just a sick, cruel game or joke. Whoever the powers that be are, or God, or whatever you want to call it, who sent me here. Change of scenery. But that always bugged me, that we come here and we're born into these bodies and we've completely forgotten who we are and what we learned. We're just supposed to start over. And I know people talk about how, we're going to remember certain things and we take our wisdom from past lives into current lives. And so it's not all completely erased, but the amount of time and energy that we have to put forth into remembering, it can take an entire lifetime. And a lot of people don't wake up. I was born Mormon, and I was a stalwart Mormon until 43 years old. And then I broke out of that matrix and realized the matrix of control and power it was, and really subjugation of women. And I realized that and broke free, but it took a lot of trauma, stress, and being alone and allowing myself to stand on business, no matter what it cost me. And it cost me an entire community. It cost me a marriage. It cost me friends. It cost me family members to leave it. So the cost was great. Most people won't pay the price to break free of these thought-controlled matrices. But I did, and now I'm 50, and who knows how many years I have left. So at this point now, let's say, I was to leave and then reincarnate and start all over again. It just seems so unfair. It seems like we're set up to fail. And when you look at people like boblazar, and a lot of thought leaders are coming out now, because we're learning, or they're discovering this truth of the soul cycle, they're just discouraged. I watched Tucker Carlson this morning, and he was talking about this, and it's just enough to totally make you hopeless, because it just seems like such a setup. We come here with no memory. We have to start over in every incarnation and have this trauma-filled life, this stressful hustle and grind life in the 3D matrix, to die and just do it all over again. So the soul cycle is not for the faint of heart, and it is a very distressing topic. And to be honest, I have been feeling just depressed about it, because one of the things at the end that really made me feel confused was they were talking about how to escape the soul cycle. How do you escape this reincarnation loop? And I've heard go 45 degrees. I've heard that when you wake up here in this 3D, you can take that knowledge and that awakening, or those opened eyes, into the death experience. And so now when you die, you remember everything before you transition to the next life. You remember everything that you learned here. And if you woke up here, then you will remember that this is a soul trap, and you will be able to say no to all of the hurdles that are set in your way. But this is a whole nother thing that is like just enough to like completely blow you away, because a lot of the traps that they talk about, part of the soul trap is like entities appearing to you as ancestors, seeing a bright light, feeling emotions of comfort and home and safety. If you're a Christian, it's seeing Jesus. It's whatever your belief system here is in this 3D matrix. When you die, you will get that, because they will work the system, whatever it is, these dark entities will just give you the hologram of what you believed here. So your grandmother will visit you. Your lost child that you lost on this earthly plane will visit you in hologram form. You will feel all the emotions that you're returning home, and then you're back in the soul cycle loop. So you have to be not only aware that this is a trap, then when you're faced with all of these different like obstacles, you have to be strong enough and awake enough to say no. And then I had the whole question of like, well, what if the soul trap is not real? What if that's a false idea? And I'm denying like the light, and I'm denying being taken by my ancestors or people on the other side, family members, and they're actually, that's who they are. And I'm just saying no because I've been deceived. Do you see what I'm saying? This is such a loop, and it is, to me, like, it's fascinating, but at the same time, it's very intimidating. I feel scared. I feel fearful. But one of the things that Joe Dispenza talks about, this is, I'm actually going to take it kind of full circle for y'all so that you're not walking away feeling as discouraged as I was most of the day. This morning I was reading Joe Dispenza and Neville Goddard and Joseph Wynn with my book group. And one of the things we talked about was the infinite void, and how the infinite void is actually the field of all possibility. And when you feel fearful, and when you feel confused, and when you don't know the next step to take, and really the only thing you know is what the next step is, but you can't see the full big picture, you just know to put your foot in front of the other, that's actually exactly where you need to be, because that is the infinite field of possibilities. Some people call it the Akashic field. But that is the quantum. That is where all is created, and that is where truth lies and source lies. So I'm going to apply that from the micro to the macro. If I'm supposed to do that in my life here in the 3D, and I'm supposed to walk into the fear and walk into the unknown and just take one step ahead of myself and not know the full blueprint picture ahead of me, then I'm assuming that that's what happens when this life is over. That we will have to walk into a void. All the answers are not going to come to us right away. It's not going to be that easy. We're going to have to use the same level of discernment that we use here on this earthly plane. And I know for me, another thing we talked about in the book group is intuition. Intuition is directly connected to the Akashic field, and you have all the answers within you. Anytime you're looking at an outside source to give you the answers or to lead you back home, that is you being deceived. You have all the answers within you. So I'm assuming that this applies to get out of the soul cycle, soul trap. That when you are faced with an easy answer or something that feels really good, but there's just kind of a dis-ease to it, listen to that dis-ease and go with your intuition. Your intuition will never lead you astray. It always has all of the answers. Now, the big caveat here is that emotions are used to manipulate you. So when you go on the other side, you're going to feel really good and feel this bright light that's all encompassing, that is beautiful and more peaceful than you've ever known. I mean, we've all heard the near-death experiences, and they talk about this. So at that point, it's going to be really hard to decipher what your intuition is. And I'm not saying you shouldn't go towards the light. I haven't made up my mind yet. I am still grappling with this, but I think your intuition will never lead you astray, and your intuition is not the same as your feelings. Your feelings can be based on a lot of things: past trauma, comfort level, what you have always accepted, your programming, your beliefs. Your intuition is something completely different, and oftentimes your intuition will lead you into the field of infinite possibilities, which is the void, which sometimes you don't know the step beyond just the next step to take. So tell me what you think about the soul cycle. What are your opinions on this? Do you have any further light and knowledge you want to share with me that can help me as I parse all of this out? But this has been my thought-provoking subject matter on this random Tuesday afternoon. Hope yours was better.